We're live. Welcome everyone to the Sisters United Hangout. Welcome everybody. It is today we are discussing the importance of self-love, and we're just going to go quickly across the panel, introduce ourselves, and we're going to get into the topic. And I'm Valerie Jampolsky. I'm a single mompreneur. I've got twin 5-year-old boys, and I am so excited to be here. Always so thrilled to be a part of this. I do, what I do this so that I could actually be home with my kids, do incredible things that I love to do. Like yesterday on a whim, we just decided, what the heck, we're going to Disneyland on a Wednesday. Very cool. And to be able to talk about really powerful, important things that help people to transform their lives from the inside out, which is a lot of what I'm so blessed, so excited that we have this. Our Sisters United. So I am going to pass it on over next. I'm just going to go across the panel here, and the way I see it here down on the panel, I'm going to go over next. That would be you, Elizabeth.
Oh.
I know.
Hi. I'm all the way on the other side here. Hi, this is Elizabeth Valeries. I'm coming from the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania in the USA, and I am a stay-at-home, work-at-home mom. I have 4 kids that live with me, and they range in age from 10 to 23, and we're at the tail end of the school year, so everybody's going every which direction every day, and even though it is now supposed to be summer here, we're wearing sweaters again because we're down in the 50s and the 40s again. So it's a little bit crazy, but we're getting there slowly but surely. Back to you, Val.
Well, I'm going to pass it on over to Nikki. Nikki, you're next.
I just muted myself out. Hi, I'm James. I don't have any. I'm in Perth, Australia. I'm the Australian on board tonight. Oh, looking for good an Australian that just jumped on. Yep, Sarita's on. Awesome. Hey, Sarita. I don't have any babies, but I have a German Shepherd dog, and I have a little black cat, Chloe. So they're my babies. I have my fur babies. I'm a businesswoman, and yeah, I'm loving what we're doing with this United Hangout. I find it very empowering, and the response that we've got so far has just been amazing. Exceeds my expectations of what this would be in just a few hangouts. So yeah, this is wonderful, and yeah, look forward to getting into tonight's subject and topic, and hearing from you ladies and hearing from everyone else out there.
And certainly just came on. Oh, I see Greta coming in. So a quick pattern to across the board and introduce everyone. I think we get a little bit of feedback. If somebody, maybe we need to mute out some. Okay, cool. Feedback on. Quick check to see if everybody on the Facebook page make sure everybody can hear us. If you can hear us, just say yes, hi, or maybe shout out where you're from, etc. You see if everybody, the folks there, if they can hear us live on the page. Can you check on that? Is that possible to go see if you got me? See if you can hear it. And whoop, you're muted. Now you're muted. Yeah, and by the way, we are going to be we are going to be doing this. This is very interactive. So those of you that aren't new, we do this. We're very interactive. We're going to be checking in with your comments and everything else. And but those of you that are new, we are very interactive. So definitely, shout out, say hi. We're going to be checking in with you. You'll be able to participate, with your thoughts and all of that. So anything you can see, Nikki, on the page of what's going on? We're good?
Yeah, we're good. We'll just keep tracking at the moment, and we'll come back to that later on, I think.
Cool. All right, I'm going to pass it on next across to Sheena. You are up.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Hi everyone, Sheena Yap-Chan here from Toronto, Canada, and I'm just really honored to be in this lovely panel of amazing women, especially the topic that we're talking about, the importance of self-love, because I think as women, this is something that we struggle with on a daily basis. I mean, I know I used to struggle with it all the time, right? And, for one thing, like if you can't love yourself, how can you love others? So just stay tuned, share, listen to our stories. I mean, you're here because you want to change, something inside you. You maybe have a block inside you that's preventing you from pushing through to your dreams, to your goals, to your business. And that's why we're here. We're here to, empower you to live a better life and to do things that you never thought were possible. So I just can't wait to hear the stories from the ladies.
Cool. And I'm going to pass it on over all the way over to the far end here and back to Australia. Sarita, you are up.
Yay. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think you need to unmute, hun.
Yes, can you hear me?
There you go, there you go, there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I actually suggested the topic, and I think it's a very important, super important thing. I think a lot of people have possibly, like, I just talk from experience, but I've tapped into self-love since I was about 17, but I had a lot of self-hatred, so I knew how important it was for me to get back to self-love, and that changed everything for me. Like for those that don't know me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm actually turning 35 this year in July, in a couple of months. But when I was 17, I was, I was still living in Germany. I just moved out of my parents, and I started to become more and more me. And I knew that I had a massive block. There was a lot of self-hatred, and I was lucky the people that I was hanging out with, who were my friends, and my first partner of like 4 years, who I'm still really good friends with. He was very spiritual, and he introduced me to all these things like meditation and self-development, and that helped me a lot to start actually looking how I was talking to myself. Because he would even say to me, and at that time I spoke German better than I was speaking English. Now I speak English better than I'm speaking German. But he would say to me, he was 12 years older than me, so he was more like a father figure to me, and he still kind of is. And he would say to me, "Why do you say terrible all the time?" Like, he would pick me up on these things, the way I would talk to myself, and I guess he helped me a lot, and he still's helping me now. He was kind of my mentor and helped me to look at myself in not such a bad way, and instead of judging myself, really looking, even the way I was talking to myself, oh, this was terrible, and because the more, it's all like law of attraction, the more you speak it into reality, everything you say to yourself. And yeah, self-love is a huge one, and I know that I do have a lot of love for people, but I wouldn't have that if I wouldn't love myself, and that's the truth. And it can also be hard, because if you really love yourself a lot and you have this open heart and you're running around with this open heart, and some people, they're going to hurt you, they're going to backstab you, and that's just bound to happen. You're very open and vulnerable, but I rather live from this space of an open heart than to be closed up, because I see a lot of people, and that's one of the things why I'm a freedompreneur, why I work online, because I don't want to be part of this society where you just go to a job, you put your head down, you've got your heart closed, and you just pay your taxes. That I can't do that. It's just, I'd rather honestly just put like a bullet to my brain right now if I even just think about it. And it sounds awful, but it's the truth. I just love being able to work from home, connecting with people around the world who are in their heart, who are inspiring to live like a life of whatever their heart's desire may be. It might be traveling, it might be being home with your kids, it might be doing your art, or whatever your passion or whatever your talent is, because I truly believe that we all have a gift, and that what we have to share with the world is important. And that's why I love this business. So if you haven't clicked on the link below and you're not part of our tribe or part of this amazing system that we all use to live out our passions, just click on that link. But yeah, since I started this business, I am even more loving myself. There might have personal things have happened for me, but I feel I've been truer to myself than ever, because I'm connected with people who are truly living from their heart, who are truly loving themselves enough to say, you know what, I'm going to go to the next event because I know it's important, or I'm going to not go to that job and take a risk, things like that. And that means you're putting yourself first, not what society tells you, not what your family tells you. And that's part of self-love. Part of self-love is standing up for what's right. And I did that since I was about 17, 18. I actually, and that's my big come out for the people that don't know, Sarita is not even my name. Like, Sarita is the name when I met my first proper boyfriend, I actually traveled to India and I lived in an ashram for like 3 to 4 months, and they gave me the name Sarita. I never chose it. And for me, it was not, it had nothing to do. I was not like, I was not one of the slaves, or I wasn't like putting the person in the ashram as a god. It was for me to start a new life, and I wanted to be me. I didn't want to be who my parents wanted me to be. I wanted just to be whoever I was, and that was my first. It's just like committing to myself, to my spiritual life, rather than the life that possibly my parents or whatever they wanted from me, And my parents are pretty cool that I've got a different name, and everyone knows me under Sarita, but the truth is my real name is not Sarita. My real name is Desiree, and that's why I put always Sarita D. Cleese. Like, the D is very important because D is actually Desiree. Stands for my original name, and that was an act of self-love that I said, you know what? Even though my parents might reject me and my family might reject me because I'm taking on a different name, I want to take on that name for my own growth. I wanted to say, this is my life. I love my parents. I love what you've done for me. But from now on, I'm going to live my life under Sarita, not under what you expected me to be or what you wanted me to be. And that was my first, I guess, step of self-love, and it hasn't done me any harm, I think. Even though I didn't even like the name when it was given to me at the beginning. I really didn't like it. I couldn't even remember it. But I do like it now, and it's me, and it's been over 15 years. But that was just one of the first steps of being so-called selfish, because that's another thing. People think of you, a lot of people out there think of you as being selfish when you do things like that. And I know that's what people think, and that's cool. But in the end of the day, I couldn't give so much to people if I hadn't done all this. And even my parents now, they're so proud of me. Even though I worried them so much and I moved away so early and I ended up in Australia and I've done all these really crazy things, they're actually so happy and proud of me. And they're very, very traditional people, and they're proud of me. It all ended up okay. But I feel good with myself, and I think it's so important. If you have that love for yourself, then you can truly give it to others. And you want to also, as a mum, like I'm a mum, I try to speak to Grace and say I say I love you, and I say you gotta also love yourself. And I'm trying to tell her how much it is important that because otherwise, if we don't love ourselves, we're trying to get it from our friends, we're trying to get it from our partners. And it becomes a dysfunctional relationship in the end, because it's not, it's not going to work. So I know I'm not going to most likely prevent her pain, because that's just part of growing. But I'm trying to kind of instill it in her right now that it's really okay to love yourself, and it's not selfish. And to be your own best friend is a beautiful thing. And that's what I'm trying to do every day. And if people think I'm selfish or I'm having too much fun, it's like, that's their problem, because you know what? I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow or what tomorrow is going to hold, because that's the truth. We don't know what's going to hold. I have this very dear friend of mine. She's in Portugal, and she got run over by a motorbike a couple of weeks ago. And young, she's beautiful, she's vibrant. No one would have thought anything would happen to her. The truth is, anything can happen to us at any time. So don't waste your life. Love yourself. Have fun despite what's happening around you. You know, despite all the craziness, all the who knows what's happening in your life right now. The truth is, things can happen and shift very quickly, and let's just make the most out of it. Most out of it. And I think a lot of people are just thinking blindly they're never gonna die, and you know, let's keep complaining and whining and being negative and watch the news and don't live. Like for me, I want to celebrate my life. I want to love my life. I want to love myself. I want to have fun, and because I know tomorrow might not come, and I want to just spread that message. So thank you for having me.
Oh, wow. I love you, Sarita. It's just like your energy. I just absolutely. I mean, it is. It's like, and I love it because when you're in that space of where your heart is, it's like it's contagious. You know, you're able to like literally affect the people around you, like lift them up just by where you're at, just by where you're at. It's,
I hope so.
yeah. Seriously, it's like I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to come across last on our panel, and then we'll go across with everybody. Sarita, you kind of started in on your story and everything. Let's put over to Greta. Here you go, Greta. You're up. And who we got? Oh, Forrest.
Trying to unmute myself with one hand here, just feeding my little one. And getting totally inspired here, and I guess I must have missed the other beautiful ladies' intros already. Sorry to have missed those, but I will definitely catch the replay to listen to those. There's just always amazing thing. I'm always just blown away. I hop on these hangouts every week and hear from these ladies, and every week there is something significant, something that stands out for me that every single woman has to share, and it just blows me away every time. You know, there's something new because these women are always continuing to grow and feed themselves and, you know, put in and learn more about self-love and things like that. It's and being able to speak from the heart. So yes, my name is Greta Campagnola for those who don't know me. And I will do my best to keep my little one's feet away from the keyboard and anything else here as he's feeding. He's a very active feeder, as everyone always comments when he's feeding. He'll twist and turn and everything. And he's getting off. Come, say hi. He fell down yesterday and gave himself a big fat lip. Poor little guy. But yeah, so I'm a busy mompreneur. I have half a dozen kids, and I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. And this topic is very near and dear to my heart as well. I have a little quote that I like to say. It's called "Love yourself, love your life." And once I learned how to do that, which I'm still learning how to do more of, and tapping and really owning that part. I'm learning that that's what I've had to do in order to really love my life, and whatever that may be at whatever time. And just being able to live and love in the present moment. Whether you're going through a difficult time, being able to see the goodness in whatever situation that you're going through, it really helps to be able to start from that place of loving yourself. And I've got an older one trying to lure him away. Thank you. So yeah, I guess it's been a long time. I had more years of, like Sarita was sharing, of self-hatred than I have on this journey of self-love. But it's been very, very important as far as my role as a mom as well. I mean, it's my number one. My role as a mother is what I feel is my purpose in raising these citizens of the world and confident, loving, self-loving individuals. And as Sarita was sharing about her little one, that importance of teaching our children, not only through our words, but through our actions, about self-love. So I'm not sure if I should go into more of my story. Before I let the other ladies share, I would really love to hear from everybody else as well. I don't want to take up too much time.
You know what? It's up to you, because we've come around to the end. So if you want, you're here. You might as well start, because you're the last one for the introductions.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here again, and I guess it really started for me. The whole self-love journey started probably after I became a mom, because I can't really say that I started to love myself when I found out that I was pregnant. I definitely started a shift with my first pregnancy and where I was at. I had struggled with an eating disorder for over 10 years. And when I found out that I was pregnant, which comes with a whole lot of other stuff, but when I found out that I was pregnant, I don't know where my kids are right now. There's a lot of things that I needed to quit at that time to be physically healthy, mentally, spiritually. There was a lot of things. I was on antidepressants. I was doing other things, and I just, right then and there, when I found out everything, I just quit everything. Not because I was loving myself quite yet, but because I knew that I needed to take care of this little being that was growing inside of me. And I needed to just do everything and anything that I could to ensure that they had the best start possible. So for me, that was my daughter, Ilaria, and she's now going to be 10 years old this July. And so it's been quite amazing. And, you know, I guess I really started completely going on this self-love journey when I started this business. I realized, I don't know how long it's been now, 2.5, 3 years or something like that. I haven't been really keeping track, but I didn't realize, like when I started, I didn't realize how much I had put myself on the back burner, and I was putting my children first rather than the other way around. And I was always sort of on the edge of losing my mind because I was so tired, I was burnt out, I was, like I said, putting my children first, and just giving all my energy to them and just leaving myself in the dust. And I didn't realize that it was because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like I really was lovable. There were so many things about myself that I still didn't love. My journey of motherhood was, as those of you who are mothers, it's a journey, and it's not an easy one. It's a learning experience. As we all know, they don't come with manuals. They're all different, all of our children, and I have a very unique situation. I have 6 children. 2 of them are not biologically mine. I have 3 different dads that I'm dealing with. There's another mother in the picture. Not that they're all in the picture, but there's a lot of things happening and going on, and a lot of things that happened that, I mean, this is not what I had envisioned my family to look like in the beginning. I will just say that. And my little one's screeching out there. But yeah, it wasn't something that I thought, yeah, I'm going to have like this huge blended family with all these different people to deal with. And I remember having this conversation with my oldest about how I actually used to think, I used to make judgments on people who had, you know, a whole bunch of different fathers of their children, different children with different fathers, and I had this weird, I remember after having my daughter and things didn't work out, I thought, I can't, you know, maybe I could get her dad to, you know, donate a sperm, and so I could keep having the same dad. I don't want to have all these different fathers, because I knew I wanted to have more children. And so for me, that whole experience made me realize that, wow, like I learned a lot about acceptance. I learned a lot about just that situation, and it made me learn to accept myself. There's been a lot of guilt that I felt. I never really experienced guilt before I became a mom. I didn't really feel the guilt that I felt from becoming a mom, making mistakes, getting angry with my children, and things like that, that I never wanted to do, raising my voice, things like that. It was just like I wanted to be perfect. And I always felt that way. And maybe you've felt that way in your life. Maybe you just strove for perfection always, and it just makes it so hard because we do make mistakes. And I've learned to forgive, you know, so many things. I mean, obviously, where I'm at as a mother has helped me learn self-love, because I've seen my children go through different stages of my kids saying words like, I hate myself. And when, I don't know if maybe you've gone through that, but that hurts. That hurts a lot to hear those words come out of your child's mouth. And I knew that when I heard those words that something needed to change. And so that's when, you know, things that, you know, you look at your children, and a lot of times there's a lot of self-reflection going on. And so when you hear things that aren't quite right, I'm not putting blame on anybody, but it's about, you know, sitting in that place, being able to be honest, and just not thinking and feeling guilty, but thinking, what can I do now? What can I do now to show them a better way? What do I need to do for myself here in this situation in order to better reflect what I want my children to feel and think and experience? So without, you know, I don't know if all that makes sense. I don't know where it all came from. I'm just speaking from an honest place and from my heart, and hopefully, you know, in doing that, maybe there's something that you needed to hear to help you just think about things a little bit differently and be able to realize that we all make mistakes. We all have different stories, different situations. There's a lot more to my story of why I got to where I was, and why I hated myself so much, why I felt so unworthy, and things like that. And that's for another day. But I'm just very grateful to be here and to hear from these ladies. And you know, it's a journey, and we just need to take one step at a time and make sure that we see the light in each moment, you know, and even if you have to lie to yourself, I think in order to change the things that you might be saying to yourself, maybe you can even think about it today. I'm going to be conscious of the words that I'm saying to myself and the thoughts that I'm thinking. Just be conscious and kind of take note of them. And at the end of the day, really take a look at that and see where you need to change things. And sometimes, you know, what's helped me is to just look at myself in the mirror and say, I love you. Or I love me, and I'm beautiful, and saying these things that sometimes can be so hard, but even if you just have to start by lying to yourself and just saying it each and every day, it really does and can make a difference. No matter how silly it feels, it can. And if you can't do it for yourself, if you have children, sometimes that makes it easier to take yourself out of the picture and just say, what would I want my child to say to themselves? How would I want them to feel? Or maybe you have a niece or a nephew or somebody really, really important to you, even if it's a spouse or anybody in your life, and just say, what would I want this person to say to themselves? How would I want this person to feel? And that can help by removing yourself and kind of thinking from a different place, and then slowly shifting. I'm not sure where you're at right now in your life and how you feel about yourself. But once you learn to truly go on that path of self-love, you will, no matter what your current situation is in your life right now, you really will start to love your life and what you've created for yourself.
That's so yeah, that's like, and for you to share in the honesty of where you have and where you've come from. I mean, I know, and that's been part of my journey also as a mom. You see, it's so much about it. It pulls up, the reflection of, how am I communicating with my kids, because of my story, and I spoke about it in the last couple hangouts, but I had such self-love. Thank you, Sarita, for the topic, because that's been a core issue for me. I mean, a lot of you know that. I mean, my childhood, there was so much. We talked about the bullying and everything last week, but I had such intense things happening in my environment, and I took it in. I took in a lot of the stuff that was happening around me, and I took it in because I didn't have anyone in my environment, a parent that would do, like, my goodness, with Sarita, what you're doing is so beautiful, to have your child work on, have your little ones work on being able to see themselves with self-love no matter what. And instead, I took everything that happened around me in, and I, at age 10, attempted to kill myself. Talk about the importance of self-love and what can happen if you don't have it. And that's been a powerful thing. I mean, because I went through, and as a young adult, I mean, I'm 52 now, but as a young adult, I made many attempts in my 20s on myself as well, because I kept attracting, because I had such never mind self-love, I had self-rage. I took it and I turned it in on myself. Some folks, when bad things happen, they take it out on others. I took it in on myself. And because of that, I kept attracting people into my life that reflected how I felt about myself. I just, in relationships with men, friendships, jobs, you name it, because I had such a lack of self-love. I mean, it was the exact opposite. I attracted the very reflection of how I felt about myself in my environment in all ways. And that was one of my biggest awarenesses that I came with, and I went through a lot of different things in how to transition from that, especially when it's that dark. For some folks that might be watching, when it's that dark, when the darkness is that deep, it can be hard to look in a mirror. Because I come across Louise Hay is brilliant for this, and I know, Sarita, you talked a lot about Louise Hay, and she's brilliant for this. I actually came across her in the 80s about, look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. What would happen for me, just saying for some folks, and if you can do it, that is great. That is really, really, really good, because then it means you're in a really powerful place. Some of us, just in case, just saying, if you look in and it sends you down a deeper negative spiral because your internal space is so far off of it that it takes you down a thing. I had to go through a slightly different path, and we're going to be talking about different things. So every person watching this, that might really be a powerful thing for you. Go for it. But I want to throw out some other possibilities as well of what I have done and the process of it. And for me, because the darkness was so deep, and I'd taken it in, and I'd bought into I was having several awarenesses. One, and I've talked about it before in other places, but it's the awareness that are the thoughts, because having that, the exact opposite of self-love, right, is buying into negative thoughts that are out there. And realizing it was for me to have the awareness that the thoughts that were out there, that anything negative, that it's not connected to reality with a capital R. We think it is, but thoughts, like anything else, are, I mean, whether you want to, for me, I choose to believe it because I frankly find it empowering, is that, the thoughts that are out there, like they're thought waves, and we can pick them up. We can actually pick them up, and whether we're conscious of it or not, and unless we know otherwise, that we have choices, that we have the ability, we actually have a frontal cortex, our brain, we have, like, what do you call it, the reptilian brain, but we also have the ability as human beings to separate from our circumstances and actually, be aware of our own thoughts, because who we really are, we're spiritual beings. I believe we are spiritual beings in these bodies, and that we can separate from the thoughts. They're not ours. And for me, a very powerful thing was realizing that the thoughts are not me. Because I took them in, and I had a negative self-view of myself, or the fact that I had negative self-thought. I had a negative self-view of myself simply because I had negative self-thoughts. And I thought that was who I was, and how could that was part of the thing of why I wanted to kill myself, because I couldn't stand the way I thought. And I felt like it was me, and I was trapped in it, and it was just who I was. And having the awareness that I had just, without knowing any better, without having a mom like Sarita, and I love my mom, she did the best that she could, with the information that she had, but I didn't have that, and so I took it in, and I took it in as if it was me, who I was, and it was having that awareness, and this is again coming from doing lots of personal development and taking, listening to audios, and again, even connect with us. We have access to a whole system of audios, but it's like, and that's what's so powerful for me also coming to this, as I've had massive transformations with this, is reading in audios, and just learning the awareness from so many sources, connecting with mentors, our community and everywhere else, that literally realizing that we are not our thoughts. Who we are these incredible, powerful, beautiful. We're connected. We're all connected, and everyone inherently is love. Everyone inherently is this incredible, abundant, beautiful being. And like Sarita, I really believe we each have our own unique gifts to bring to the world. We really do. And for me, it was that process of just, even before I could take it in, but listening and hearing it over and over from so many sources, that I am not my past, I'm not my story, and that I am this incredible being. And so it allowed me to release from, the ability to be able to kind of look in the mirror, or even not in the mirror, look in the mirror, and say that I love myself, because my true self is not all my mistakes of the past. My true self is not that. And anything that if I make a mistake, the moment I recognize that I've made a mistake in terms of how maybe, if I've ever raised my voice to my kids, or if I say something, do something, anything that is not living from that place of love, living that loving human being that I know we all are inherently, that I allow myself to go, you know what? It's not who I am. I just temporarily bought into that, and it was frankly part of the process for me to get more. I realized something. It's actually, I realized, I did actually a video about this. I realized on my birthday last year, it was a powerful thing, that everything that happened to me in my life, everything, was all a part of the process that I'd frankly chosen to have in my environment, because I made this very powerful, brave decision to come in, to do things so that I could come back to who I really am, come back to this loving space and be able to share that and have that energy. Like, when you're in that, oh, life is beautiful, and let's and that you have that powerful energy, it's contagious. Just like when someone's in a negative space, you can feel it's like the darkness in the room, but that anytime you've been around somebody that's really loving life and in that vivacious space, that is infectious as well in a powerful, positive way. And so these experiences, to transform them, to encourage, I did it so that I can really encourage other people. And something about coming out the other side of that is so powerful. And the more and more we go through it and become aware of who we really are. For me, it's meditation, it's listening to audio, it's listening to books, being on Hangouts, being in community, always, being in the realm of always having, even in my, my business, being around positive, wonderful people that are living from that space and supporting each other from being in that space, right? That spreads. And it was the awareness that anything that had ever happened, it was there to allow myself to really dig in deeper and express my gift even more. And so in a weird way, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes. No one is a mistake. No, there are no mistaken beings, and the process of what we do is part of that encouraging process. Who is it? I think one of us even here said, "This too shall pass," with all of that. But for me, that was part of the biggest process for me, and it is a process because things come up. I've got many more years than I have out of it, of a habit of going down that negative rabbit hole. But I'm finding the more I do it, the faster I pull out of it, and giving myself credit for how fast I can pull out of it, or having the awareness and getting excited when I notice. Excited when I notice that I've gone down a negative path with myself and I've made a mistake, because the very fact that I've noticed it, I've separated from it and I'm tapped more into who I am, and it literally lifts my vibration, which allows me to then do positive, loving things for myself. Even if it's step by step. And like I said last week, I talked about this with maybe I did this on the, I don't know if I did it with the other Hangout, but just I really being just knowing that step by step, I really go through a process of going, I did this today. Maybe maybe my everything isn't perfect around me, but with if I'm going through a personal thing, I did this piece today. I did this piece, and giving myself credit for catching this or making this one change in my environment, or doing this one loving thing more today than I did yesterday, right? Because I used to go, oh, it all has to be perfect. But I would give myself credit for the little pieces, and the more I give myself credit for the little wins, it's like it lifts and allows me to do another one the next day, and allow myself to go, you know what, it's okay, it doesn't have to all be perfect right now, but I did this today, and tomorrow I'll do a little bit more, and the next day do a little bit more. Next thing you know, everything starts to transform. So that's what I have at this point. I'm going to pass it on over, I'm trying to think of the order of how I did this. Going to go over to Sarita. Do you have more to say right now, or do you want me to pass it on over to Elizabeth? Oh, okay, she's shaking your head. Okay, going over to Elizabeth.
Oh, sorry, my throat went out. I guess I'm listening to what everybody is saying here, and I agree with a lot of it. I've been through a lot of it. But I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that from a very young age, we take in other people's perceptions of what we are, and we internalize those things because we don't know any better. I had a very hard time thinking of myself as a beautiful, kind person growing up, even though I was, because my mother, the way she dealt with us is I was her firstborn, ugly, nasty, rotten brat. And that was her affectionate way of telling me she loved me. And it was warped. She meant well, but it was warped. And for the longest time, if someone told me that I was beautiful or pretty, I thought that they were insulting me. I really, really did. And I had a really hard time understanding that that wasn't what was going on. On top of that, I had a divorced family. So there's always one kid in divorced families that gets blamed for the one parent's behavior. You're just like your father, you're just like your mother, and lucky me, I look just like my dad. And my mother had all these wonderful things to say about my father, and that was sarcasm, I promise you. And so you internalize these things because that's what you're hearing all the time. And things push came to shove, and my parents, my sister stopped her visitation with my dad, and I moved from my mother's house to my father's house, and thinking I'm just like him, so we should get along really well, not knowing that when you are very similar to a parent, all you do is beat heads with each other. And it became even harder there. And it was just a constant negative diatribe that was going on. And even when you're doing things that everybody else sees as being beneficial, and you're being a good person, when the person that you look up to, that you live with, is telling you that you're doing things that you're not even doing, it's hard not to believe it because you're inundated with it. And it takes a lot of strength to realize that you are not the person that they say that you are. And, at 17 years old, my father was accusing me of being active with this boy and all this other stuff, and I wasn't. But he hit me with it so often that I'm like, why the hell not? It's hard because you want to be who you want to be. Even as we grow up and have our own children, we identify ourselves through the things that we teach our children, not realizing that they're learning from who we are. It's not that we're supposed to be just learning from them. And I guess the hardest lesson I had to learn in that aspect was my first marriage was very hard. It's hard when you first have a child with handicaps and disabilities and nobody knows what to do. And my husband and I totally went drastically apart. And because I was ashamed of everything that was going on, I didn't speak up for myself. I stayed quiet. I didn't tell anybody what was going on. And when everything fell apart, I was the one that got blamed for it. I did this, I did that, I did the other thing. And none of these things were things that I actually did. And it took that before I was willing to stand up for myself. This is not who I am. This is not what I am doing. I am this person. This is my belief system. The way I have been able to stand up for myself and learn to like who I am is I've always taken care of other people. I've always given of my heart and of my experience to other people. And what I had to do was own up to everything else that was going on. I had to be honest with how I saw things, how I wanted to be perceived. And it's flown over with my children also, because we don't sugarcoat anything in my house. Some people think that's brutal. I do not allow for brutal honesty. I don't think it's helpful. I think that what you need to do is you need to explain what's going on and how you feel about what's going on. Because when you do that, when you explain how you're feeling, you're actually identifying with who you are inside. As my daughter is sneaking up behind me, it's really hard because there are oh, thank you, sweetheart. There are different things that happen that you have to explain to your children. I dress this way because I perceive myself to be a very serious person. I perceive myself to be someone that needs to be taken seriously and understood for what they mean and how they talk. And I teach my children those things also. Because we deal with those things, we deal with each other that way, and we take each other seriously, and we know exactly who we are. I am an artist. I draw to filter out some of my emotions. I write. As a lot of people know, I write a lot, and I'm very descriptive with my writing. And that's how I get how I let people know who I am. Because until you can identify that person, until you know who you are inside, you can't like that person very much because you're always looking for other people's opinions as to who you are. You need to be able to not only say what you're thinking, but understand that you are the person behind those thoughts, not somebody else speaking through your mouth. And honestly, it was the first step towards liking who I was, because I had all these perceptions and I had all these understandings. I don't judge anyone or anything until I see all aspects of it, which is the same way I want to treat myself. And by doing that, you notice more things around you, the things that you equate yourself with, and the natural things around you. The kids tease me. They tell me that the way the weather comes about out here goes directly with my moods. When we're having bad weather, the kids come home from school. Mom, what's the matter? You know, it's silly, but in some aspects, it's also impacting your environment. How you feel about yourself directly impacts how you deal with the things, situation around yourself. If you're upset and you're not liking yourself, you're not going to be happy with anybody else for the rest of the day. That's really how it ends up being. And, you know, you just have to find little things that you do that you're proud of, things that you know that you are capable of doing and that you like about yourself, because those little things grow into bigger things. And the more you see them, the more other people will see them as well. Because if you don't, you're not going to go anywhere in this world. You're not going to advance to do anything. You're just going to sit down and end up in a mire of a mess until you decide that there's someone in there worth caring about, and decide that they're worth someone's love, because no one's going to be able to love you and give you the things or the affection that you deserve until you love yourself. When you can accept that, when you know that you're worthy of that affection, that's when you get it. It's really, honestly, truly when you get it. And sometimes it takes reaching the total bottom before you can understand that you're worth so much more. And I will.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That is so, so powerful. So much to say on all that. I'm gonna pass it on over to Mickey. Oh, I think you're muted, hun. Still muted.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Wow, I can actually relate to everyone's story so far. I mean, it's amazing how similar some of our stories are, you know, with the journey we go through in gaining self-love for ourselves. It really is a sensitive topic, I guess, but yeah, I just sort of processing some of what the other girls have said has kind of really hit me in my heart, and yeah, just because I can relate to a lot of, you know, with Greta especially, with, you know, her coming to her very recently. I feel that I'm in the same position, my self-love. For myself, I actually thought I had that earlier on, and I just didn't. I liked myself, but I didn't love myself, and there is a big difference there. And it wasn't until I really realized that and how much I actually really did hate myself that I started to look into that and trying to make a difference about that. And you know, there are certain things that I went through, certain processes that I went through to get to a place of self-love and to be able to say that I do love myself. And even now, it's still sort of hard to say that because it feels weird. To say, oh, I love myself, you know, it feels, you know, obnoxious in a way, but it isn't an obnoxious thing at all. It is giving yourself that freedom and that empowerment to say that I am enough. And yeah, yeah, I guess the way I went through my journey was a lot through the psych side of things, and going through a lot of the training that I'd received as being a psychologist and a counsellor, and looking for a lot of those sort of methods, and along with the spiritual side of things as well, and sort of blending those two together to get me where a place I was wanted to be. You know, at one point I remember being really such a hypocrite, because I was when I was doing alternative healing, I was helping people that had self-esteem problems and self-love problems, and I was giving them exercises on how to, get to that point in their life, and getting them to do what you said, and look at the mirror and tell yourself in the mirror, I love you, I love myself, I am worth it, I love who you are, and just to say that until you start to believe it. Things like writing on yourself, I am worth it, I love you, you are beautiful. These are the things I was telling my clients, why I'm behind the back being the hypocrite going, yeah, I really hate myself, and I'm not doing any of that. So, I did play the hypocrite for a long time until in a way, I didn't know that I was doing that, though. I must be honest, because, I did think I was in a place where I was quite happy, but, being in a place now where I'm a lot happier, I can see I was definitely in a place where I was not happy. So, the few things that I sort of did to get to a place of getting to, a place being comfortable with myself, a place of liking myself, and then ultimately a place of self-love, was becoming very mindful. And, people who have more self-love tend to know what they think, feel, and what they want. They tend to know these things. They are more mindful, and who they act on this knowledge. They're more mindful, and they act on this knowledge of how they're feeling and how they're thinking, and rather than on what others want them to do. And I think being mindful about your own actions and doing what makes you happy rather than what's making other people happy is ultimately going to make you a happier person, make you like yourself a lot better, and of course leave yourself loved. So it just made me be very mindful about my thoughts and my the little talks you have with yourself, and it made me think my interior voice. It made me listen to that voice a little bit more, and stop myself when I started to get really negative with myself. So that really helped me, and that also helped me in a lot of other things as well. Another thing that sort of really helped me was to act on what you need rather than what you want. You love yourself when you can turn away from someone that feels good and exciting to what you need to stay strong, centered, and moving forward in your life. Instead, by staying focused with what you need, you turn away from the automatic patterns that you get into, which get you in trouble, keeps you stuck in the past, and lessons of self-love. So you need to, really act on what your needs are, and understand what's not working for you, and what habits are working for you, and then stick with them. And I had to change quite a few of my habits, quite a few of my my belief systems as well, and still be mindful of that as well, and really look at those patterns in my life that had caused me to feel bad about myself. Practicing good self-care for yourself. You love yourself more when you take better care of your basic needs, when you nourish your soul, when you nourish yourself daily through healthy activities, nutrition, exercise, proper sleep, intimacy, healthy social interactions, and people that are around you can be very negative. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to bring the right people into your life. The term frenemies, I kind of love that term now, because it describes so well the type of friend who takes pleasure in pain and loss rather than your happiness and success. And I've had a lot of people in my life that have been like that, and I've had to cut. I've called it a culling, but I've had to cut cullings quite a few times in my life of these types of people, because they thrive on bringing you down, and just pretending to be a friend, and really doing the opposite of really what a friend is, and that makes you doubt yourself, and that's not the way to go at all. So you've got to set boundaries for yourself. You've got to love yourself more, and when you set limits and say no, to friends, to work, to love, activities that deplete or harm you physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and express truly who you are. You know, you've got to really, I think, sitting down and writing these things is so important. And I've said it to many people that by writing things, it's one of the most powerful ways of manifesting things into your life. And when we're talking about the subject of self-love, if you're writing your boundaries down, if you're writing, practices down that will help you in your self-love, even if it is things like exercise and getting proper sleep and doing nutrition and writing these things down, it sort of integrates into your brain a lot more, and you're creating these pathways, and then the more you see it, those pathways get stronger and stronger. So I would recommend to anyone out there that even if, self-love, yes, definitely write down what you want in your life, what you deserve in your life, and how you're feeling with yourself at the time, and then keep writing that out and see the transition that happens for you. I think that's really, really powerful exercise. I think probably the most powerful thing on the path to forgiveness is self-love. Is forgiveness is self-forgiveness. We as humans are so hard on ourselves. We are our worst critics, and we've all heard that once before. And we really are. No matter how much shit we may get from other people, we give ourselves more shit than I guarantee that anyone could possibly give us. So, the downside of taking responsibility for your actions is punishing ourselves too much for mistakes in learning and growing. You have to accept your humanness. As one of the other girls on the panel said, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So give yourself a break. You're not perfect, and you never will be. You can just be the best you that you that you can possibly be. And if you know that's what you're doing, and if you know that you're trying your hardest to do that as a person, then self-love will come easy. Practice being less hard on yourself when you make a mistake, and just remember, you're not a failure. If you have learned and grown from your mistakes, they're only lessons learned, and that is a great thing. That is a beautiful thing. If you can look at things that happen in your life, even if they're good, but especially if they're bad, and say, well, this is the positive from this, and this is going to make a stronger person from this. And I know now more than I did before about what I want in life, and love yourself for that. Love yourself for having that knowledge and for being able to put yourself in a position where you're able to say, I am strong enough to be able to admit that this is a shitty situation, but I have learned from it, and I love myself for that. Because it's very hard for people to do. It's very hard for people to admit defeat and failure, and so they make excuses for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, if you keep doing that, you're never going to get to a place of happiness or even liking yourself, let alone self-love. I guess living intentionally, living with intention, you'll accept and love yourself more. Whatever is happening in your life, when you live with purpose and design, your purpose doesn't have to be crystal clear. I don't think anyone's actual purpose is too crystal clear, but as long as you have intention to live a meaningful, healthy life, you will make decisions that support this intention, and feel good about yourself when you succeed in the process. You'll definitely love yourself more if you see yourself accomplishing what you do. When you set out to do these things, you need to establish your living intentions to do this. So this is another thing that I would recommend to people out there that are struggling with self-love to do, is to write down your intentions and sorry, to breathe. To accept your intentions and write them down, of what you want in your life, and how you want to live your life, and what you expect from your life, and from tying in with being a healthier you will lead to a happier you, which will lead to a you that is definitely a person who appreciates yourself more and is definitely on the path to having more self-love for yourself. Yeah, and I'm really quite passionate about this. That this is it's touched my heart a lot. And when Sarita brought it up, I went kind of, oh shit. Sorry, I'm dropping the S on. Sorry. So, but I did go, oh shit, because this. I mean, Sarita knows my story, and I had it hard 6 months ago, and I was in a really, really hard place, and it took me a lot to drag myself out of there. I was literally bedridden for 2 years. Not a lot of people know this, but I was bedridden for 2 years, and I was diagnosed with lupus and given 2 years to live. So I was in a really bad place, and it took me a lot to get me out of there. And through the help of Sarita, actually, she helped me get to a place where I could see light at the end of the tunnel. And I'll be forever grateful to Sarita for that. And through that process of what Sarita started with me, I am now so happy to say that I am at a place that I can say I like myself, and more to that, I do love myself. I love the person that I've become. And for the sake of the people around me as well, I love myself, because if I can't love myself, I can't give my full self to other people, let alone partners in my life. So I'll shut up now.
No.
Love you.
I love you too,
It's so powerful.
And there's
I mean,
a lot of beautiful things happening for Nikki, but we're not sharing that.
No, we're not. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and just the Sisters United group alone has just been so amazing. The ladies on the panel, you see us on screen, and we have discussions that we interact with each other behind the scenes, and almost every day. And the support that we give each other, and the support that I've received from each and every one of you guys is just amazing. And then even some of the girls that I've connected with through this Sisters United, it's just been amazing. And I really do appreciate, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you, because you've given me the strength to continue on every day and to continue my journey in not only self-love, but in my business, and just life in general. So yeah, thank you.
I have such appreciation for you. Yeah, recently reached out. Whoop, we got an echo going on from somewhere. I'm not sure from where. Yeah, I recently reached out. Reached out to Nikki and Sarita with something that was going on in my life, and being very supportive of a specific thing in my life I was dealing with a plan and how to go through with it, and taking action steps on it and everything else. And it's just it's so incredible to have to have a community. And that's one thing I can see is when you start to have self-love, you start more and more and more of it, you start attracting supportive people around you. It's a completely different environment of what comes into your universe. And I have such appreciation for all you ladies, for all of you. Nikki, are you yeah, do you have more right now, or can we pass it on, or come in, or actually can you see if there's anything, do we have anything on the page, any comments on the page at this point?
I'll check. I probably think I'm finished for now. If I keep going, I'm just going to start falling out. So I'm just getting really emotional and sappy. I just really wanted to give some people some tips on how I got to a place from such a shitty place to such a good place, and really in such a short period of time. It really did. And yeah, you can do it. You really, really can. You've just got to you have that acceptance for yourself. And you know, like I was giving that advice to my clients that I wasn't taking, I have actually done that now. I have looked myself in the mirror and I have gone, I love you, I love you, I love you, until I feel stupid and then until I believed it. You know, get a pen, write it all over your body. I've sat there naked, and I'm not joking. I was going to show you shit again, but I'm not joking. I have sat there naked with. It turned out actually it was a permanent marker, but I did, and I wrote, "I love you. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're amazing," and just things like that, because it sinks in on a cellular level. I know it sounds funny, but you know, it's also about loving your body, and at that time as well, because I was so unhealthy, I was ashamed of my body, and that helped me get over my body issues. So,
Well,
yeah.
there's actually science behind it because in the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? That's actually what they do. So quantum physics proves now this, and also Dr. Emoto, anyone knows about Dr. Emoto, if you don't, look it up. You know, when you write like "I love you" on a bottle of water, like you put like a, you know, write it, it actually changes the molecules of the water into a beautiful shape. And the same thing if you write "I hate you" and you put it on the water bottle, there's actually science behind it now that proves that changes totally the water molecules to a really yucky shape. And because we're over 70% water or more, it makes total sense that if we continuously tell ourselves we don't like ourselves, or you're not good enough and all that, that goes also into ourselves. So what Nikki is just saying is actually exactly what's been proven now by science. It actually, you know, even if you drink some water, write "I love you" or "love" and put it on the water bottle. It will change the molecules of the water, and you're actually what you drink. And the same, obviously, what you think to yourself. And that was huge for me when I found that out. I think that must have been 2-3 years ago. I don't know when that movie came out, but What the Bleep Do We Know? And I'm sure there's a YouTube free version out there, but that pretty much explains exactly what Nikki was doing, because that's what the lady was doing in the movie. It does actually a huge impact, and it's not just airy fairy stuff. It's actually proven by science now. So for those out there,
that's actually where I got it from. You know me, I am a very scientific person, as well as, you know, a very airy fairy. I am airy fairy, but I do love logic, and I do love science, and that is where I actually got those techniques. Is from that movie What the Bleep. So yeah, guys, definitely, you know, check that one out. You know. And with the water thing that Sarita's saying, I just wanted to add, like, do a test. Like, get a water bottle, write "I love you" on one, "I hate you" on the other. Write more words if you like. I swear to you, leave it 3 to 4 days. The one you say "I hate you" will taste like brown water almost. It will taste stale and disgusting and yucky. The one you put the love into will taste sweet. If you put the intentions of "you taste like strawberry" on it, and I've done this test before, it will taste like strawberry. It's amazing the effect that our thoughts can have on ourselves. And like Sarita says, we're made of this water. We're, you know, 90% water or something like that, you said. And you know, with our thoughts, if we're saying these negative things to ourselves all the time, and we're hating ourselves for things all the time, you know, that's going to come out on our outer bodies as well, and that's going to come out in our personality. It's going to affect our health. So many things. So we've got to start feeding ourselves. We've got to start nourishing ourselves with love. So do what I did. Get crazy. Get naked. Don't use a permanent marker, but, you know, write these things on yourself. It works. You know, it really does. Sorry. I keep.
I love it. That's so cool. So I want to pass on. Sheena's been sitting here so patiently. Do you have any more tips? We're going to pass it on, or do you have more right now, Nikki? And if you think of more, hop in. Yeah. So I'm going to pass it on over to Sheena.
Hey everyone. I just really love hearing the stories, especially with self-love, because like I said, as women, it's really hard, you know, for us to feel love for ourselves, especially coming from an Asian family. Most Asian women are always pressured into doing all sorts of things. You know, we get compared to other people. It's like, oh, why aren't you as pretty as this person? Or why aren't you married yet? Or why didn't you get an A on your report card? You know, why didn't you go be a doctor like this person? And that kind of pressure that women get, that really deteriorates their themselves, right? And then they start having these self-limiting beliefs, right? And I've been through it. You know, my parents were never like that, thank goodness, but I've had relatives that, you know, just with the minute they see you, it's like, why is your hair like that? Or why aren't you married yet? Or why are you doing this certain thing? And, you know, sometimes it can really get to us, right? And this is why it's so important to surround yourselves with women who can lift you up in times like this, because, you know, that kind of thing is very toxic, and it can, you know, spread not only in your life, in your business, and in love. And, you know, it took me a while to get over that, because, you know, there was a point in my time where, like, why aren't I married? Like, what's wrong with me? Right? We always ask ourselves this famous question, what is wrong with me? Right? We've all done it. I used to do it all the time, right? Until one of my mentors, he's like, why keep on asking yourself what's wrong with you? Have you ever thought of asking what is right about you? And that's when you need to start asking yourself, what is right about you? You know, you're here because, you know, God or the universe thought you have a special talent that you need to spread to the world. And maybe you haven't seen that yet, and maybe now you're just realizing it as you're watching us, listening to the sounds of our voices, you know, hearing our stories. The fact that you're here is, you know, you want change. You want to learn how to get out of that rut. And we're showing you by just sharing stories what we do. You know, there's nothing, you know, hard to do to bring back that self-love. This is everyday things that you have to do. It has to be done every day, like taking a shower, right? Reading books, listening to audio, surrounding yourself with amazing women like these women out here. You know, every day I'm grateful for these women, because, you know, without them, I don't know where I'd be. I mean, 2 years ago, I was going through the worst, you know, breakup of my life, and if it wasn't for a support group like this, I don't know where I'd be today. I probably wouldn't be here sharing, you know, tips on how to start love, right? And it can just be something as simple as affirmations, right? When you say it with conviction and feelings, like, you know, I love myself, I am great, I am beautiful, you know, your brain is going to start, you know, believing that, because believe it or not, whatever you think in your mind, they can't tell the difference between what's real and not real. So even if you're putting things that are not real, it's going to start becoming, you know, I remember there was stuff that I used to think unconsciously, and then it just appeared out of nowhere. And sometimes I'm like, I can't believe that actually happened, because I used to think about that all the time, right? And we do think these things, you know, we're unaware of it. So when you're thinking to yourself, I hate myself, what is wrong with me, why aren't I good enough, your brain is going to start attracting those things. So that is why having a prosperity mindset is huge. And how do you do that? Like I said, reading books, surrounding yourself with people, listening to positive audio. I mean, I've started doing meditation, and that's even helped me as well. I mean, I used to think, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to end up falling asleep, because I can fall asleep a lot. And, you know, it's just these simple little things. I mean, it pains me to read, you know, countries like Asia, you know, especially in China, where, you know, women are always ridiculed. They're always, you know, beaten up at the fact that they can't be single. They have to get married. They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to live their own lives. They're not allowed to rock the boat. I mean, that's stupid, right? It's bullshit. I mean, if anyone who's into this, I'm telling you, you can do whatever you want if you believe in yourself. If you believe you can live the life that you want, go ahead, do it, because life is too short. I mean, 4 years ago, you know, my aunt passed away, okay? She was the most amazing woman you'll ever meet. She had no fear. She did everything she wanted to do. She went ziplining, she went scuba diving, she went trips here, there, and everywhere. And she started doing this maybe in her late 50s. But, you know, she didn't care what anybody thought. She just lived her life. And, you know, I can just say, like, you know, heaven gained an angel, because she truly was an angel. But, you know, she was able to live her life, you know, like most people would love to. Like most 20 and 30-year-olds would love to. There's so many people out there who are physically alive, but they're dead on the inside. They're like the walking dead, walking like zombies. And that's not what you want. You want to be able to live your life to the fullest, which is why mindset is huge, which is why we're showing you first. You got to start loving yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how do you expect to give love to others? How do you expect to give love to your parents, to your families, to maybe your significant other, or maybe that future soulmate that you've been searching for? You know, how can you give love in your business, right? because being in business is about giving love, being a go-giver, right? And when you give enough value to that world, you get it back, right? They have this thing called a goodwill bank. You gotta start putting money into that goodwill bank, because the universe will give it back to you in return, and you just have to be ready to receive what the universe gives you. So, I used to deal with mindset a lot. My mindset was shit, right? I would always think, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why is that person, better than me? How could they do that? And I was so mad and negative that whole time. It's like, one day I woke up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm sick of this shit. I got to start changing it, because if not, I'm going to go down this road that, I may not be able to come back. So if you think, it's too late, it's never too late. You can change in an instant, like that. You can change in an instant, right? Maybe you want to start a business and you don't know how. Well, you know what? Sorry, I couldn't count. 6 of us here can help you do that, right? I mean, it can start by clicking the button below to see what our Freedompreneur vision is all about. We just really want to help women live a better life. That's it. We just want to help you live a better life. And for me, I think the only way to do that is to be in business for yourself. So, that's it. For me, I'm just really glad I was able to share a little bit of what I think with self-love. Just know that you are more than enough, right? The world needs a you, and you're here for a reason.
Yeah. Powerful. My goodness. Replay and take notes of everything that just came flying out of Sheena right now. It's like nugget after nugget. I mean, it's very, very powerful stuff. Like, really, seriously, it's like something to, literally go back, replay afterwards, write it out, and have it as like a reminder sheet. I mean, I didn't even get into there's so much stuff that you laid out in a very concise manner, one right after the other. Really incredible stuff. Everybody here. It's so grateful to be here. So. Anyone else here? Oh, it's a second here. Yeah, we have our own little inner chat in here. Greta just wrote down power, power, power. We got our little inner chat here on the side of the hangout. It's kind of cool. So, anybody else here? I'm gonna pass off because we've gone a little bit past the hour here. Any other comments or last-minute comments? Anyone here that wants to pop out? If we have any, I know a lot of folks. I'm not sure if we have any comments. I think this might be so deep. A lot of folks are just sitting there.
Hey, look, a lot of people that are just
who is that, Nikki?
asking about the name of the
Who is that, Nikki?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I think we have a bit of a.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I think we have a bit of a.
Oh, sorry. Yes, a lot of people, a couple of people have been asking about that book that's been, that means Sarita mentioned. It's called What the Bleak, with a question mark. And then there is a second one also, which is awesome, because it goes into quantum consciousness, which is like right up my alley. And that one's called What the Bleak, Down the Rabbit Hole. They are big watches. They contain, that's the thing, a shitload of information. But it's very worthy, so it may take you a couple of times of watching it for everything to sink in. And if that's the case, maybe just watch a little bit at a time, because it is just information. And it's a great movie. It really is a great movie. And it really is the starting point of when quantum physics and consciousness came together and formed a new science, which is now quantum consciousness. So awesome. I love it. I think it's just great. And I also promised I have heard from a couple of people that are from my event page that have tried to add comments but can't comment for some reason tonight. So it's why our commenting may be a little bit lax. So I did promise to give out a shout out to Chloe, who's watching on her mobile phone, because her computer is not working at the moment. So yeah, to Chloe Schubert, she's awesome, beautiful, lovely little chickie. She's awesome because she loves wolves just as much as I do. I just want to give a big shout out to her, and I hope she got a lot of value from this tonight as well, because she is a beautiful person. She has a lot of value that she gives out to other people. But Chloe, you do tend to put yourself down a little bit too much, sweetheart. So you've got to start loving yourself more. So that's my shout out to Chloe. And if you haven't been able to comment tonight because of maybe issues with that thread, just you know, after the replay, and we close down the live chat, just, yeah, add the comments in the box. Go to the thread and share your stories, share your comments, your, you know, yeah.
Thank you. Cool,
Thank
cool, cool. Yeah.
you. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, we have an echo. Echo, echo, echo. Ah, we have an echo. Echo, echo.
Sorry, it's always me.
any.
I might just throw something in quickly.
Yes, please.
Not sure what I'm going to say, but I'm just like, everything I learned today, just listening to you guys, self-love, I think, is one of the most important thing, at least for myself and my journey, to master. And I think I'm continuously, or anyone else on the journey, I think it's a continuous process, because every day we make mistakes. As much we try not to, that's life. We're human beings, so we make mistakes or things happen. And self-love is one of the, to me, one of the most important things to be able to master. Because like everyone said here as well, if you can't love yourself, how can you love anyone else? And it's made a huge impact on my life, how I live my life. And yeah, I just hope that anyone out there struggling with it, because I think a lot of people are, you know, and it affects all your life. Even you, I think a lot of people are even, they don't realize they don't love themselves, you know. Even with my kids, I had to, like, my kids are very happy to say, I love you, mommy. But it's like, but I love me too. And I'm trying to put that in, because we always look outside of ourselves for everything else. And in the end of the day, we have to give it to ourselves. And if we can instill that into our kids early on, that everything we want from others is really ourselves, and it changes all relationships we have with everybody and with the world, and you know, just feeling good. And the more you feel good, because you give yourself, you know, you have, you know, for example, for me, I might have a day without my kids because they're with their dad, but instead of me feeling bad about it, I can make the most out of it. I can go and do all the things that I can't do usually when I have my kids. And that's a form of self-love. And then I feel better, and because I feel better, then I attract better things to me, because that's the law of attraction. And it truly works. And it's with so many things in life. And the truth, like I said, you know, like, I think that's one of the biggest things for me. I've actually never been afraid of death. I'm not a person that's afraid of dying. I think I'm more of afraid of, I think once we die, we're actually in a better place. That's kind of my belief. But what I'm more afraid of is that whilst I'm alive, I'm not enjoying life. That every day is so precious. And I think a lot of people like to ignore that we're actually going to pass. And we don't know. The truth is, we don't know. And like this friend of mine who just had an accident, and things like this come back, and it's like a big reminder. It's like, live your life now, love yourself, give, you know, you love yourself with an open heart, give to the world with an open heart, you know, connect with the people with an open heart. Some people are ready, some are not, so what? And the ones who are not ready, so be it. The ones who are ready, how amazing you have that connection right now with those beautiful people, and leave a legacy, you know. And I want to leave a legacy for my children, and I truly want them to live the best life possible every day, each and every day, not tomorrow, because tomorrow might not come, and that's the truth. And things happen all the time, so we all don't know. It doesn't matter if you're 25 or you're 20 or you're 8 or you're 5 or you're 40 or you're 80. You don't know what tomorrow might bring, so you better enjoy it today and love yourself and give your best to the world, and love wholeheartedly yourself, and that way you can also wholeheartedly receive love and connect with those that are ready, you know. And that's the legacy I want to leave for my children, and I think it's just beautiful, and it makes me excited. So yeah, that's enough for me. But yeah, I love the hangout, and I think self-love is one of the most important things that anyone can could master, any human being in this world. Because if we all would love ourselves, I don't think there would be wars and family feuds and all these dramas going on. You know, it all starts within, and if we don't look at ourselves, then we're going to project it all to everybody else out there. So that's the first step. Make peace with ourselves and love ourselves, and then we can truly love others from that place as well.
Wow. That is so true, Sarita. That is so true and so powerful. It's a powerful vision, and it's a very, very powerful vision, of us with the world. We love ourselves, and then we'll have the way we affect everything in the world will change. Not, within ourselves, our business, our kids. That's thank you for bringing that forward and bringing that. Thank you for bringing that forward.
Yeah, just with what Sarita was saying, it's very true. Sorry, bouncing off you again, Sarita. But there's a psychological experiment that they've done called the 20 monkeys experiment, and basically what it is, it's different within each culture. With people, it will definitely be different, but I'll try and do this really quick. But it's basically, once a certain part of the population starts changing and starts thinking in a different way, take for instance self-love. Once that population starts having that certain percentage of that population starts having self-love for themselves, because we are part of that one consciousness, because we are all linked in some way, it actually does start a domino effect. The 20 monkey story in psychology is there was a monkey on an island, and what he actually did is they had potatoes, and what he would do, they'd eat the potatoes and they'd be happy. This one monkey got a potato, took it down to the beach and started washing it. Another monkey saw what was going on, so he went and got a potato and he washed his potato and he started eating it. This happened until every monkey on the island was then washing their potatoes and then eating it. Now what happened, this happened in World War II, it's an experiment an experiment that was watched by actually a group of soldiers. And what they discovered in communicating with each other, that after a period of time of these monkeys on this island washing their potatoes, I can't remember the exact distance it was into the next island, but these monkeys started doing the exact same things, and I got goosebumps thinking about it, because it was that percentage of the monkeys on that island that started doing this one thing, that their consciousness was so connected with each other that the monkeys on the other islands started doing the same thing, not because they thought of it, but because they were connected in such a way. And the same thing is happening with human consciousness at the moment. If we all start practicing different things, and the same things, which are the good things, when a certain percentage of the human race starts doing something, then it carries on. It just happens, because we're all energy, we're all made of energy, we are all connected in that way. And, so if we all, like Sarita was saying, if we all have that self-love for ourselves, if the percentage of us all gets to that point around the world, then it will start dominoing to an effect where people will automatically start doing that. That's, this is the story I wanted to share with you, because I found the monkey story is really amazing, and look it up. It's a pretty cool story, but it does actually relate to human consciousness as well, and how, once, there is a shift in human consciousness with ourselves, it does naturally start shifting for the whole world, not just ourselves. I'm done, I promise.
Wow, I love it. And never again do we feel like we don't matter, because literally just having that positive energy inside yourself, that in and of itself transforms. It's positive transformation within the world. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. I didn't know about the 20 monkeys. That's cool.
So I think it was 100 monkeys, not 20 monkeys. 20 monkeys is a movie, isn't it? Yeah, 20 monkeys is a movie. It's 100 monkey effect. Look that one up. Sorry, not you will get the movie, but it's 100 monkey effect, and it was observed by World War II soldiers.
Very cool. Very cool. So, and anything else? Otherwise, we're going to close out for the day, close out and come back next week. Send your comments if you're watching. Yeah. Anybody that's watching, if you're watching the replay, please feel free, put your comments in below, because we do come in and we check, and you're here. Our intention is that, your energy, I set the intention, and all of us do this, that we're all here together, time and space, all of that. Like the 100 monkeys. I mean, we all have the connection, our Sisters Unite connection, a connection with ourselves. We're here, even if you're here in the replay, the energy, we're actually here with you right now. So, in some way. So put your comments out there, and we're connecting together over the week on your thoughts or anything else. And any other comments, ladies, or Nikki, Sarita, want to close us out for today? No? Nothing? Okay, great. Well, I'm going to say, if you haven't already, connect with us below. Connect with our community. Come join us in doing what we do, our Freedompreneur movement here. And would love to really be able to assist you in just achieving your vision. And one thought is, any thought that you've ever had positive for yourself, for your dreams about yourself at any point in time, it's already yours. It's already yours. Everything, no matter what is happening, is working together for your good. And I believe in you. We all believe in you. We love you. And thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you all next week. And have a wonderful week. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you soon on the other side.